What's up, Big Bear Nation? Welcome back to the homestead. So today is hopefully the last frost we are going to have for the season. Most people around here usually start planting over Good Friday, Easter weekend in this area. And I started looking at our last frost dates and it said April 15th, and I thought, that's like a week after Easter, so maybe we should just pump the brakes on planting. And thank goodness I did, because like I said, we had a frost last night, and if we had put all of those plants out and lost them, that would have been not only heartbreaking, but expensive, because we have a lot of plants that need to get planted. So I'm coming up here to check on Louise. And I don't know about you, but Louise looks like she's gotten bigger. What do you think? She looks like she's almost the size of Thelma. Like, I remember last year getting her and thinking, wow, she really is still truly a heifer. But I look at her now and I feel like she's filled out some more, and she's just overall gotten bigger. Look at her. Louise, what are you doing? Huh? What you doing, baby girl? Are you tearing up that grass? So speaking of the grass, we've been rotating her on these paddocks now for the last couple of weeks. And we had to do a little bit of tweaking, because now that it's just her in here, she doesn't need as much space, because the overall goal is for her to only be in here for a day at a time. So Carol has shortened up the paddocks a little bit, and they seem to be doing okay. I'm really excited about this paddock. I'm just looking over here. This paddock for tomorrow is full of clover. She's gonna have a blast tomorrow. Today is mostly just regular grass. There's a little bit of onion grass in there. Hoping she leaves that alone, because I really don't like onions in my coffee. But she's doing really well. She's not overeating the grass. It's giving it enough time to recuperate before we go. The way we have this set up right now, we're getting about 5 days per row. And we have 4 rows, so that's 20 days. Plus, we're going to start running her back over here behind the shop, because I'm gonna walk you over there so you can see the grass from when we had the chickens over there is so nitrogen rich. Like, the grass, you can just see the spots where the chickens were. So we're gonna probably move her around through there before bringing her back. So we've got almost a month's worth of rotation. So it gives the grass a little bit of time to recuperate and get up higher, so that we're not having to watch her as much for parasites. You're so used to being outside now. Huh? You can't eat my hair. Stop, you're making me sit on my phone. You can't be on the camera. Come here. You have got to be the laziest eater I have ever seen. You're not even getting up. You just laid in a big pile and you're eating as you're laying. So speaking of the chickens, I've been moving them around over here by the grapes. And apparently I've made more work for myself than I really needed to. At least that's what Carol tells me, because when I had to move them yesterday, she was cussing me the whole time. But either way, we're running the chickens through where the muscadine vines are, and I think it's going to be a really good fertilizer, and it's going to be a slow release because we're not tilling it into the ground or anything. It's just going to sit there. And then as it rains, you know, or there's dew or whatever, it'll slowly release into the ground. So I'm hoping that that will help us with our harvest in the fall. So you can see behind me, got the chickens back here, and I'm actually walking back from the way that I had them, that I was running them. I ran them down that way, and the group that's going that way is the one that's actually going back behind and gonna run the full length on the outside of the grapes. This one right here, I'm going to move back through this way, and eventually I'm gonna run it through, not this side of the grapes, but then on the other side of that second row, I'm gonna run them over there. But I've got to be creative with how I move them, because this last time I wanted to just tie up some rope and pull them back using the canine, but Carol told me that was just too much work. And so she just moved the airline cable up higher and got the tractor up underneath that. And I wasn't crazy about that approach because I was afraid that the airline cable was gonna bust, but it worked. It's done. Just not gonna do it again. So now that we're in full sunlight, it's a lot easier to see the areas where the chickens were. You can see there was a rectangle there, a rectangle a little bit further down, and then there's more over here, but you can see the green, that light green versus the dark green where the chicken tractors were, and even more so back here. You can see where this grass is growing back. Right there, that area is getting darker as well. So my goal is to just kind of bounce them around so that we can continue to fertilize the grass real good, because ultimately that's the goal, is to have the healthy grass for the cows. So I was telling you that we were going to bounce her back, Louise, back behind the shop. And this is why. Check out this grass. Look at how nice. I mean, it's high, it's thick, and it's really, 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 really green. And that's from this area. I had the chickens back here probably about a month ago. And so all of that area has grown up really high and looks pretty nutrient dense. So I'm excited about moving her back from up there all the way back here and around, because it's a good area for her. So this area back behind me, this is actually pretty interesting too. If you look at some of our older videos, you'll see where we used to have pig pens, and believe it or not, they were in this area right here all the way over almost to where those trees are. And we recently scooped up a bunch of pig muck and put it right down here, and so you can see where it's still kind of muddy, but do you see all of the rich grass that's grown back from years and years of us having the pigs there? That over time, all those nutrients that are in the ground have made some of the healthiest grass I think I've ever seen. And so again, we'll probably bring Louise over here and let her just go to town on some of these spots over here. Now, I know I was talking to you guys a couple weeks ago about the clutch of eggs that we weren't sure who they belonged to, and since then have found out that the Indian runner duck is sitting on them. She's about halfway through. She's kicked a couple eggs out. I don't know if it's because there were just so many of them or what, because one of the eggs looks like it actually had something growing in it. I'm kind of scared to touch it because I'm afraid it's gonna like explode. But she's still sitting. She's got about 2 weeks left, I think. So we'll keep an eye on her, and hopefully in a few weeks we'll have more baby ducks. And that one I'm still kind of hesitant on whether or not we'll intervene with her, because like I said, we don't have any experience with them having babies. I don't know how she's going to behave. The one thing that I am scratching my head on though is I have this khaki Campbell duck, and you know, khaki Campbells are supposed to be notorious for laying consistently, and I have yet to see her go somewhere and lay. And so I'm kind of wondering about that. And speaking of ducks, I have this mallard that was following me around for several days. Like when I started moving the chickens back over here by the grapes, he would meet me every morning and I would feed him separately because it looked like he was getting bullied. Well, like 2 days ago, he just disappeared and I haven't seen him. So I'm thinking he's probably been lost to the elements, or he was somebody's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But Jason seems to think that it's a possibility that it might have been a female. And maybe it wasn't a mallard, it was a different type of duck or whatever. And that maybe she has gone off and is sitting on a clutch somewhere. Now, I would be absolutely thrilled if that was the case. But I've already kind of suffered the loss and come to the conclusion that I'm not going to see him again. And I really think that it's because I think we have a predator around here. I really do. We've had a couple of, you know, some things that have just gone missing over the last year. And I can't blame it all on the pig. We rescued a bunch of chickens last year. And for me to only have like 16 total or 20 total chickens left just doesn't add up. So I think over time they've gotten picked off one at a time and we just haven't noticed it because everybody's free ranging. I know we've had some hawks, but I think there might be something ground based, because like last year we had that barred rock who had her babies, and she was an excellent mom. She did a great job. She brought them up as juveniles. But then when it was all said and done, I think she started with 10 or 7, something like that. And by the time that she was done, it seemed like the only ones that we had left were the roosters. And I think we have like 4 of them. So like I said, we got to start really kind of keeping an eye on that to see. And even more so because we're getting ready to start moving some of these birds that are inside outside. So one last thing before I close this up. We have this great peach tree that's growing up above us, and in years past we've had peaches. We get peaches every year, but this year I think between the wind and the freezing, it doesn't look like we're gonna have any peaches on here. And I mean, the tree itself looks super healthy, lots and lots of leaves, but no blossoms. All the blossoms have fallen off. No peaches anywhere to be found. So I feel like I've read somewhere where you could force a tree to blossom again. So I'm gonna look into that, but I don't know that it's, you know, the right time to be able to do that. So if any of y'all have any experience with that, or you've ever had that happen before, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, because otherwise the tree is just decoration this year, and we don't really do just decoration around here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this walk around, a little bit of an update of everything that we're doing around here now that it's getting warmer, and it's almost like we're out of the gate and we really got to start running to catch up with the spring into the summer. So thank you for stopping by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless. Have a nice day.